Hi everyone, Mary Petricone here, day 3 of The Secret Life of Artist. It's Friday, March 20th, 2020. I have a couple of different things to do today. First of all, behind me, I have 2 suggestions of photographers for you to Google if you enjoy photography, which I do. One is John Freycinet, and when you Google him, put in parentheses street observations. And the other one I call Athens John, but you can look at the spelling of his name. I have his permission to say his name, but it's too beautiful of a name for me to butcher. So check out their photography. Now the connection between the two, to me, is that I wouldn't have met Athens John had it not been for John Freycinet. So he allowed my husband and I to tag along when he was meeting John in Athens for the first time because they knew one another as photographers online. And what a day. What an experience. And in my opinion, that's how it should be with artists, where we share, we open doors and share one artist with another. So, right after I did my first video, Athens John sent me an email and I asked his permission to read it. So I was going to do that yesterday, and I realized that I'm videotaping from my phone. I can't read an email from my phone at the same time, which I want to thank John Freycinet, because I wouldn't be on YouTube but for his patience and walking me through. He's an IT professional, and I can be a technology person's worst nightmare. Not because I'm trying to be, but because it doesn't get in there. So thank you, John. And thank you, both of you, for encouraging me. And, you know, in my first video, I had said about being willing to be new at something. I'm doing it right here. And these 2 guys, because I respect them so much as photographers, I was really embarrassed to post my first video, and they both encouraged me. And that's how it should be. I love that. If you don't have people around you encouraging you as an artist, get away from them. So now I'm going to read what John wrote me after my first video. I love the video clip on YouTube, inasmuch as it promotes creativity. I consider this public intervention of yours in the midst of difficult times extremely useful, actually critical. What would we be? What would we do? How would we cope with difficulties if we didn't have the weapon of creativity? As a photographer, I get in touch with many young people. Some of them are or were, when I first met them, very, very young, 15, 16, 18-year-olds, or in their 20s. They write, some of them good, some of them mediocre, some of them not so good. But they all do something, make something from scratch, from nothing, from the non-existent, which is absolute creativity to me. And this is good in itself. Creativity is good in itself. Even if the final product of the process is bad, trash, useless, whatever, it's good because it keeps the brain working. It's good because it's an expression of the soul. It's good because it gives birth to something. Most importantly, it's good because it's good for us personally, although it may be nothing to others. It's good because it's therapeutic, it's a remedy, it's a refuge, a port where we can drop anchor during a storm. Art, even bad art, does this for us. It cures, it alleviates us. As artists or creators, it may mean nothing at all to others. It may be as bad as it can be, but still, it's a personal expression which takes away some or all of the burdens that weigh on our souls. So this is what I've been saying to my young friends. Keep making music. Keep writing. Keep painting. Whatever you do in life, don't neglect your creativity. Practice it as much as you can, depending on your personal or professional circumstances. But never put it aside. Never quit it. You may not be fit to be a good artist, a professional musician, a published writer. You may even be a bad artist, a bad one for the rest of us, but you will still have the means of your soul's expression. And as a human being, you will most certainly go through bad times, failures, death of a loved one, loss of love. We all do. No one is the exception. At that point, though, those of you who have been creative, those of you who have not stopped being creative, those of you who have not forgotten or suppressed their creativity, because all of us can be creative, it's in our genes, will instinctively know what to do to help them cope with the bad times, the horrible thing that happened to you. Write a poem. Okay, it may be a bad one. One that no one will ever read or relate to. One that you may even hate after a few years, when you find it forgotten in a drawer. Its purpose of personal spiritual healing, though, will have been realized anyway. And that is what creativity is mainly at in its core. Spiritual healing. If it is good creativity, good art, then we are talking about collective spiritual healing. It helps us as well, gives us joy, pleasure, bliss. It takes us to a higher level. It makes us think or feel. It makes us one with others. John ended this with, among other things, you teach art, Mary, or maybe not. You teach and train souls in the art of healing themselves. What can I say? There's nothing to say. That was so well put. I don't know how it is in Europe. I know here, and I know it from working with young people, that sometimes it's all about fame and not the connection with your soul. Maybe nobody will ever know your work, or one or two people will be moved. Does it mean to stop doing it? I'm not going to. Maybe these videos are bad art. I know they weren't today because I read some beautiful words and I introduced you to some phenomenal photographers. Enjoy, and you go and have a good day. Be creative. Bye.